Brand protection is vital for every business. It doesn't matter if you're a major multinational or a sole trader just starting out. It also doesn't matter what business sector or industry sector you work in, or which countries you operate in. The simple fact is that if you don't protect your brand properly, your business is going to suffer.
And the main tool that we use to protect a brand are intellectual property rights, and the various intellectual property rights that are relevant for the protection of the brand, but we tend to rely most heavily on trademark registrations and designs. Well, one of the most important services that we provide is the clearance of brands, and it's essential before any new brand is launched, either for a product or a new service, or going into a new country, that proper clearance searches are conducted to ensure that the mark is available for use.
And when you know you can use your brand, it's vitally important that you protect it. And if you don't, and somebody else gets in first, there can be very serious consequences.
I'm still involved in proceedings today that were commenced back in 2007 when we first did the clearance searches, and it can take an awful long time and a lot of money to get through these disputes. And if you don't have the adequate protection in place, you can be litigating for a long time. When it comes to brand extension, companies need to be aware that trademark rights are territorial. So just because they have a registration in one particular country doesn't mean they have any rights in that mark in another country. So they need to do clearance searches in any country in which they want to extend geographically.
And it's important to remember that trademarks don't just give protection for the mark per se. You have to register specific goods and services. And so it's very important that you make sure as a brand owner that your registrations cover everything that's relevant to your brand.
We don't just have to be restricted to word marks when we think about trademarks. In most countries of the world now, you can protect sounds, animated marks, holograms, and sometimes even smells. So a manufacturer of thread has infused that thread with the smell of plumeria blossom, and then they've registered that as a trademark because it has become distinctive of their particular thread.
Well, brand protection is definitely not a one-time thing. It's just as important when you've got your brand protected that you actively manage your portfolio to make sure that you've got the correct protection in place, because all businesses are constantly evolving.
And technology changes as well, and the delivery of services has changed. So in my old days, when I used to listen to audio cassettes, if I was advising someone to protect their registration for audio cassettes, I would have called them audio cassettes. Of course, we've then gone through iterations of CDs, and now online music and downloadable music. So anyone who had protected their marks 20, 30 years ago probably wouldn't have covered the things that they're actually now producing. What we can provide is an audit of an existing portfolio to look if there are any gaps in the existing protection, or indeed if there are things that are protected that are no longer required because they no longer protect what the business requires.
The other side of protecting your brand is making sure that your competitors and other people aren't using it or aren't using aspects of it in a way that could be damaging to you. And that's why enforcement is very important.
So through trademark clearance searches, through to filing programs and protection of a trademark, through the enforcement of your rights and the exploitation through licensing and franchising, these are all part of the brand management services that we can provide and advise you on.